Hello, Giants fans, and welcome to a new edition of the Valentine's Views podcast here on Big Blue View Radio, part of your SB Nation family of podcasts. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts across the Big Blue View Radio network. All right, Giants fans, everybody who follows the Giants, who's familiar with the Giants, knows that an annual tradition with the Giants is banging on how bad the offensive line has been and wondering what the Giants are going to do this particular offseason to try to fix it. We focus a lot on free agency. We focus a lot on the early rounds of the NFL draft, but there are 7 rounds to the draft. Lots of talented offensive linemen available later in the draft. And today I want you guys to get to know, one of those guys who's looked at as a middle to later round draft prospects. Let me bring in Garret Greenfield of South Dakota State, an offensive tackle who could be on the Giants' radar here in a few weeks. Garret, hey, thank you for hopping on. Thank you for a few minutes. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be on, and I appreciate you having me on. So,
Of course, of course. Hey, congratulations on what looks like a fantastic career, South Dakota State, back-to-back national championships, 3-time FCS All-American, I think 2-time team captain at South Dakota State. That sounds like a mouthful, and it sounds like a lot for you to be proud of.
yeah, definitely. I love my time at South Dakota State. It was nothing short of spectacular. All the years I was there, had a great coaching staff, great support staff in the building. Just, everyone around there will always be special to me, and they're just such great people. And it's definitely something special there at South Dakota State. And obviously my teammates that I got to know so well over the years, who mean everything to me. So just a lot to look back on at my time at SDSU, and just smile because I really couldn't have asked for much more of a better experience than what I had.
You spent 6 years there.
I did.
You took the extra COVID year, spent 6 years there. Um, Obviously, you loved it there. I'm just curious what you hear from NFL people, or if you hear anything about whether they look at that as a plus or minus. I think you'll be 24 years old heading into this draft, and there are guys in this draft who are probably 21 years old too. So, I mean, how do teams look at that? I'm just curious what you hear.
I think especially with offensive line, I think the more reps you can have under your belt, the better. Just because it's a position that takes a lot of time to develop, and a lot of repetition to do it correctly. Um, I view it as a positive. Just
Mhm.
being there for 6 years, I've played in so many games. I've seen so many different defensive looks. I've got to work on my technique for such a long time. So, I think a combination of all those things makes it a positive. Just because, like I said, it's such an intricate position. There's a lot you got to worry about on a play-by-play basis. So, the more reps you can have under your belt, the better.
And obviously, you had a decision to make a year ago. You chose to stay. Um, you won another national title. You won another. You were honored as an All American again. Look back on that. You think you made the right choice to stay for one more year?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. And I knew it was the right move for me too when I made that decision. But obviously, how it all worked out. Going 15-0, winning another national championship. That's what we all set out to do. When a
Hmm.
bunch of guys said they were going to come back for another year, because we wanted to, go back to back and do it all over again. So, um, yeah, 100% it was the right choice for me. Just getting to spend that a whole another year with all my best friends, all my teammates, and that coaching staff to again just go back and win another national championship. It was in just an incredible experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was by far the best move.
And do me a favor. I can read scouting reports. I can do all of that. Just describe what you think you bring as an offensive lineman, what you would bring to an NFL locker room.
Yeah, I think what I would bring to a locker room is, show up ready to compete, because South Dakota State was competition like in everything we did, and I think that was a big driver in our success. So competition is important. That's what brings out the best in everybody. Um, I'd be a great teammate. I think I'm easy to get along with. I'm not going to cause trouble. Off the field. And I'm gonna take coaching and I'm gonna do whatever the team needs to do to help them win games. So that's just kind of who I think I am, and what value that I would bring to a team.
And have you heard anything from teams about position wise, about where they think you might fit? I mean, I know you played mostly left tackle at South Dakota State. Have they talked to you about right tackle? Has anybody talked to you about the possibility of moving inside? I'm just, I'm curious how NFL teams view where they think you fit.
Yeah, I've heard kind of heard a little bit of everything. A lot of questions of because I played right tackle and left tackle, all my years as a starter at SDSU. So it's a lot of questions of can I play guard? And I think the answer to that is yes, I can. At the Shrine Bowl, I moved inside a little bit, got some reps at guard. So kind of got a few of those reps under my belt now, and kind of got a feel for that. So um, that's another thing too. I think I'm very versatile. I could play anywhere, and that's kind of going back to what I said. Whatever the team needs me to do, whatever I need to plug me in, I'd be happy to do it, and I think I'm capable of doing it as well.
What'd you find as a difference, moving inside to guard? I know I hear guys say that the big difference from guard to tackle is maybe just the space and maybe how quick, these defensive linemen are on you when you're inside.
Yeah, I mean that about sums it up right there. It's a lot of the same mechanics as tackle, but you shorten everything up because it does happen faster. It's a lot less space between you and the defensive player, so just a small space. Everything happens a little quicker, so everything you do as an offensive lineman, you just got to shorten it up a little bit, as opposed to on the edge where there's more space and more ground you got to cover and stuff like that. But it's all the same mechanics. It's all the same technique. Just happens a little faster, and you got to be ready for it a little sooner.
You mentioned the Shrine Bowl. I have to ask you, you you had a head coach that Giants fans are familiar with
Yes.
at the Shrine Bowl. You had Mike Kafka
Hmm.
as head coach on I think it was the West team you were assigned to.
Yep. Correct.
I'm just curious how it was working with Coach Kafka, and what is he like on a day-to-day basis?
It was awesome. He did a great job, and he was a lot of fun to be around. He could tell right away when we got there, like our first team meeting. He was high energy. He was fun to be around, and it was easy to see a lot of the guys connected with him too. And he just has that personality that you want to be around, and he did a great job. Leading us through our week and kind of having everything run smoothly, and just take a bunch of guys who didn't really know each other, then kind of making us into a team, in such a short amount of time. And I think that showed in the game. The West team had a pretty good performance. So just yeah, high energy guy. Easy to get along with, and obviously knows what he's talking about too. A lot of his coaching points and how he about himself and handled everything. Was very first class and great to be around.
That's a really interesting description of Mike Kafka as a member of the media who has, for the last 2 years, stood in a lot of Mike's weekly press conferences when he talks to media about the Giants offense. Well, I think Mike's mission in life for 2 years has been to be as boring as possible and say absolutely nothing. So to hear him described as high energy and fun and all of that is very, very much not the Mike Kafka that the media sees on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. I guess I don't know what to tell you there.
No, it's just interesting because I know, like, for years and years Eli Manning was quarterback of the Giants, and of course he showed us nothing of the personality now that we all see on TV. So
Right.
I know that these guys are showing us what they want to show us. And I guess I can't blame them for that, but it makes me chuckle when I hear stories about the real Mike Kafka or the real personality of some of these guys. I'm sure you've seen that, along the way, even with coaches and things you've dealt with before, where they're different away from the cameras than or in front of the cameras than they are with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in all sports, I feel like that's a pretty common thing. Just even my college coaches, you could tell like when they had to do media stuff, they had a little different personality than when they were around, just the team and stuff like that. So definitely, I think very common.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Um, I'm curious, when you look at offensive line play, you look at the type of player that you are. Are there guys you model your game after? Are there guys that you admire, with skill sets that you think are similar to yours, or paths toward the NFL that are similar to yours?
Yeah, as far as skill set goes, I love watching offensive linemen. There's just so much you can learn from so many different players. Um, but as far as I go, I think my I try to model my game after Brian O'Neill for the Vikings, just because I think he's got a similar fluidity to how he moves and just how smooth out there. And I think that's one of my strengths too, is moving smoothly and never getting too out of control with my body or anything like that. So just trying to model that and be as smooth as possible through all the mechanics and everything throughout each play is something I really try to emulate.
Anybody else you really like to watch?
I like watching Trish Swift a lot. He's another, Iowa boy. He's an incredible athlete, and you look at the success he's had. He's one of the top in the game in the NFL right now. So he's a lot of fun to watch. Um, Trent Williams is obviously, probably at the top. But again, just incredible athlete and so powerful. So there's I could go on. There's so many players, on a week to week basis that I enjoy watching and try to take some things from.
I'm curious if you've heard anything from NFL scouts, from NFL talent evaluators. Do you have any expectations coming into the draft about where you might be drafted, whether you're going to be drafted? You have any expectations, or do you try not to worry about that?
No, I try not to worry about that. I'm a very process oriented person. So I just try to worry about what I'm doing on a daily basis to, help myself out the best I can. When that day does come. Like I said, not getting too focused on the outcome. It's just gonna do try to help myself out, and the rest will all take care of itself, and everything else will fall into place how it's supposed to. But I just know, no matter what happens, it's all part of the plan that I have designed for me. And, wherever I end up, I know what I'm going to bring to that team, no matter if it's, a draft pick, a free, anything like that. Like I mentioned earlier, I know what I'm going to bring to that locker room, into that organization. And I think, I'm just knowing, and I'm confident in what I bring to would bring to a team. And, all the other stuff is just, stuff I can't worry about.
How's the whole process been for you, since your college season ended? And I'm curious where you've been training.
Yeah, it went pretty quick after the season ended. So obviously we won the national championship. That was on Sunday, January 7th. And then, first thing Monday morning, I headed over to my training facility, APEC in Fort Worth, Texas. So I just drove over from Frisco right to Fort Worth on Monday morning, right after the game. And then, I was in full training mode by Tuesday. So, it kind of just rattled off really quick and, just kind of getting into the flow of things and trying to get into a routine. Um, so yeah, it's all kind of been, pretty fast paced moving forward because, started training for a couple weeks and had the Shrine Bowl and stuff like that. So, that was a whole new schedule as well. And then now I got the combine coming up here in a few weeks. So, Just trying to stay on top of it, trying to stay in a routine as best I can, and like I mentioned earlier, just taking one day at a time, and controlling everything I can in those days to put myself in the best position down the road.
Awesome. Hey, after a 6-year career, NFL scouts, talent evaluators have a lot of film to look at. Um, what, if anything, are you trying to show them when you get to the combine, when you get to your pro day? What are you trying to show them, to answer any questions that they might have?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think my how fluid I move, and I think my athleticism does help me, on the field. So just trying to show them that, and what they see on the field is, also what they can see, with the Shrine Bowl, with the combine and everything like that. Just seeing how I move, and just how I can control my body and move, and be a good athlete in space and stuff like that. And then just showing them who I am as a person. Let my personality come through, and like I mentioned earlier, just let them know exactly who would they be getting.
All right, Garrett, appreciate the time. Best of luck to you. Hopefully, you hear your name called sooner rather than later when we get to the draft in April. And again, appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Yep.
All right, Giants fans, that was Garret Greenfield, offensive tackle from South Dakota State University, potential late round draft pick. And just before we go, just wanted to touch on a couple of things. Wanted to mention that I did my latest weekly multi-round mock draft at Big Blue View on Sunday. If you guys want to check on that, check that out. See what you think of what I did there. Also, if you guys want to check out all of the work that we did leading up to the Super Bowl, looking back at the 4 Giants Super Bowl winning teams. And also finally just mention that with free agency a month or so away, we'll be turning a lot of our attention to looking at potential free agent moves for the Giants coming up as well. So please be looking forward to those things, Giants fans. All right. Thank you very, very much for listening. Please stay safe out there. Take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.